Something's fishy.
Hey guys, I'm Zone, and in today's video I'll be giving you an advanced guide on laning with Fizz in the mid lane. We will be covering over everything like when Fizz hits his power spikes and how to deal versus counter picks. If you enjoy this video, please smash the like button because it would honestly and truly make my day. So first, let's talk about Fizz's pros in lane. Fizz is able to, whenever ahead, snowball the game out of control. He's able to tower dive people pretty easily and one-shot them with his E ability, Playful Trickster. He is a highly mobile champ. He can outplay his opponents really easily with enough skill, and he can tilt any enemy when he dodges any skill shots by them with his E. The cons to Fizz is that he's really weak if he falls behind in the early game. He is a really high skill cap champ, so it takes a long time to master him. He gets harassed hard because he's a melee champ in lane. He's squishy in teamfights and it's easy to focus him when he doesn't have E. And he's bad against tanks and deals close to no damage to them. You take Flash and Ignite or Flash and Teleport as your summoner spells, depending on if you have kill pressure early or you need the teleport to roam or catch up in XP against hard lanes. There really isn't a best option, but in general, Ignite is probably the best spell you could take next to Flash because it gives you tons of early game kill pressure and secures kills that are close. Teleport is usually best in counter picks or lanes you know you have no chance of winning and you get shoved out of early. Your order max is always REWQ because R being your most damaging spell, E because it gives you tons of extra AoE damage and is a form of mobility, W because it gives you extra damage per auto and the initial burst from its first auto, then Q because you are really only using it as a gap closer. The runes are somewhat situational if you want them to be, but generally you take Electrocute with precision in the secondary tree, which will help you with extra damage throughout the game and add burst. You could take Predator if you are looking to roam throughout the game and make a presence of yourself, or Sorcery in the secondary tree for the extra movement speed with Water Walk, shield against AP damage with the Orb, or Transcendence to get more cooldown reduction throughout the game. You really never want to take Dark Harvest because of all the nerfs it has gotten and how Electrocute just overpowers it in the early and mid game with damage. Now let's talk about item build. Fizz has many situational builds he could do, but generally in the early game, you always want to build Proto Belt with Magic Pen boots. You could go Hackstick Revolver or Sheen while building into Proto Belt because it really comes down to what the player's preferences are. If you find Sheen or Kendall Gem more important second. Never go Merc Treads or Ninja Tabby when you just want a bit of defense because when you are playing Fizz, you want any source of damage you could get. Only in games where you're completely useless you want to think about getting defensive boots, but generally getting the most damage is best because Fizz's main job is to one-shot the most important target on the enemy team. After you get Proto Belt and Magic Pen boots, you usually want to go Lichbane if they don't have anything that threats to kill you quickly or lock you down. If they have something like Lux that's constantly locking you down and making you die in teamfights, you may want to consider Zonius early because of its active. When Fizz gets snared or rooted, as soon as he presses Zonius, he's usually able to buy enough time for his E to come back up to make his next play. Morelos is really good to get mid and late game because he gives you a nice amount of tankiness with HP and raw magic pen that can be used to do true damage to the ADC if they don't build magic resist. Void Staff and Death Cap are of course both items that give you a lot of burst potential and you usually want to buy them mid and late game. So now let's talk about Fizz's laning phase. Fizz's laning phase is solid if played correctly, but if he messes up and falls behind, it's really hard to recover. Generally, up until level 3 or 4, you should just be trying to farm to the best of your ability and never try to fight because you know you don't do any damage. Always start Corrupting Potion because you will be using it a lot throughout the game and it helps a ton in the laning phase when you get harassed. On your first back, you should always pick up Dark Seal because of the bonus healing it gives you and overall strength, plus Dawn Ring if you are heavily trying to build towards the early game power. After you are level 3 or 4, go for mini trades where you're able to do a quick combo and proc your Electrocute then get out. In the early game, Fizz relies on his Electrocute damage to deal the extra burst he needs to win trades. The reason why you want to do mini trades is because you want a chance to kill them when you're pre-6 or when you get your ult. And even a jungler ganking is an option because when you're playing Fizz in lane, the lane will pretty much always be shoving towards you. When playing Fizz, your counter picks are people who can outstun you like Vlad, because after Fizz trades with you, he needs you to be around 3/4 HP before he can all in. Or people that can heavily set him behind in the early game and have some sort of defense ability to block his damage like Lulu, Orianna, or Zillion. In these lanes, I'd say your best bet is to make a presence on other sides of the map, because on these lanes, these are actually kind of impossible to win and is not in your favor. Fizz is an amazing roamer because his E ability makes him invulnerable and his R is a really good engage tool. I personally prioritize getting leads on other sides of the map because it's easier to do when it's a 3v2 and most likely I'll be out leveling their bot lane. If you want to win the actual lane, try to wait until your enemy messes up, like throwing one of their damaging abilities recklessly, then you can engage on them knowing that you will win that fight. The jungler may actually want to help you because in those lane matchups, Fizz has no way of shoving and is pretty much always under his tower. In counter picks, you may want to actually take teleport because your kill pressure is actually low when you're dealing with those champs. When you want to do the quick trade, do the Q auto W trade, then E out or back in. Your one shot combo will be REWQ because when you do this, the enemy has no chance of fighting you back or doing anything. You can also use your Q to Q onto a minion to get into position to ult the enemy. The flashy combo is a great combo to do to secure kills on your enemy, and it's really hard to predict. When you get a lead on Fizz early, you always want to shove and roam or freeze the wave and zone them from minions. The way you win games, remember, isn't from you killing your laner over and over, but it's to take drags and rift or roam the other lanes and get a lead there. Always know where the jungler is before you go for a trade because he is able to kill you really easily if you don't have your E ability Playful Trickster, because without it you are just a mobile fish. Anyways guys, I really hope you enjoyed that video, and if you did, please smash the like button because it will really help me out a lot. Comment what you want to see next and subscribe to see more like this in the future. If you haven't, make sure to follow me on Twitch.tv where you can watch some of these videos live. I'm Zone here with another video, and I'm out. Peace!